Look at the device in your hand. It feels like a tool. It feels like it belongs to you. But what if it was never built to serve you at all? What if every glowing rectangle you have ever held was designed by people who understand your mind far better than you do, and who profit precisely when you lose control of it? You think your spending is a choice. You believe that when you tap, when you buy, when you scroll for one more minute, you are exercising free will. You are not. You are living inside a quiet cage, and the bars are made of code. Every scroll, every click, every notification is a small, calculated strike against your self-command, draining your attention first and your money second. This is not a story about willpower. It is a story about architecture. And once you see the architecture, you can never unsee it. Welcome to Dark End Wise. Stay with me to the end, because the trap only works while it stays invisible. Today we are going to make it visible. You have been told that your financial situation is your own fault. Spend less. Try harder. Make a budget. Cut out the little luxuries. It is a comforting story for the people who profit from you, because it puts all the blame on you and none on the system you live inside. So you blame inflation. You blame your salary. You blame your own weakness late at night when the parcels arrive and you cannot quite remember ordering them. But the real culprit is not your character. It is a silent psychological trap, and it is sitting in your pocket right now, warm and patient, waiting for the next moment of boredom. Here is the uncomfortable truth. In the modern digital economy, your attention is the product. You are not the customer. You are the harvest. And a harvest does not get to decide when it is reaped. Let me show you how the cage is built, beam by beam. The first beam is the infinite scroll. Before it existed, a page had a bottom. You reached the end, you felt a small natural pause, and you made a decision about whether to continue. That pause was your freedom. So they removed it. Now the feed never ends. There is no bottom to reach, no natural stopping point, no moment where your rational mind can step in and ask whether you still want to be here. The designers know that the absence of a stopping cue is worth more than any advertisement. It keeps you in the stream, and in the stream you are pliable. The second beam is the variable reward. This is the oldest trick in behavioral psychology, and it is the same mechanism that keeps a gambler at a slot machine long after their money is gone. When a reward is unpredictable, the brain does not relax. It leans in. It craves. The next swipe might bring something delightful, or it might bring nothing, and that uncertainty is precisely what makes it irresistible. Every time you pull down to refresh, you are pulling the lever of a machine. The little spinning circle is not loading a page. It is building anticipation. And anticipation, not satisfaction, is what keeps you coming back. I want you to picture someone. We will call him Daniel. Daniel is clever, well paid, and he works in a bright open plan office in a city you would recognize. Daniel is not a villain. He does not twirl a mustache. He simply has a job, and his job is to increase what his employer calls engagement. Every morning Daniel looks at a dashboard. The dashboard shows him millions of people, reduced to a single rising line. His task is to make that line go up. Not for a day, but forever. To do this he runs experiments on strangers who will never know they are subjects. He changes the color of a button. He moves a notification 5 minutes later. He tests whether guilt or curiosity makes you return faster. Daniel does not think of you as a person. He cannot. There are too many of you. He thinks of you as a pattern, a probability, a number on a screen. And the most profitable version of that number is the version that cannot put the phone down. This is the quiet horror of it. There is no single mastermind. There is just a building full of Daniels, each one optimizing a small piece, and the sum of all those small optimizations is a machine more persuasive than any human being who has ever lived. Now we arrive at the part that touches your bank account, because attention and money are not separate. They are the same river flowing in two directions. When the machine owns your attention, it owns the doorway to your wallet. Think about the state the feed puts you in. You are slightly anxious, slightly restless, comparing your ordinary life to 1,000 polished highlights. This is not an accident. A calm, contented mind is a poor customer. A mind that feels a small lack, a quiet inadequacy, is the perfect soil for an advert to take root. So the machine first creates the wound, then it sells you the bandage. It shows you the life you do not have, and then, in the very same scroll, it offers you the thing that promises to close the gap. The watch. The course. The holiday. The version of yourself you could finally become, available now in 3 easy payments. And the friction is gone. Your card details are already saved. The payment takes 1 tap. There is no walk to the shop, no queue, no moment where you hand over real notes and feel the weight of the transaction. The money has been made invisible, exactly like the bottom of the feed. They removed every pause that might have saved you. This is how a perfectly intelligent person ends each month poorer than they intended, unable to point to a single foolish decision. There was no single decision. There were 10,000 tiny nudges, each one too small to resist, adding up to a financial wound that never quite heals. Let me take you 1 level deeper, into the brain itself, because this is where the trap becomes almost beautiful in its cruelty. Inside your head there is a chemical messenger called dopamine. Most people think dopamine is the chemical of pleasure. It is not. It is the chemical of wanting. Dopamine does not reward you for having something. It drives you to seek it. It spikes in anticipation and then falls away once the thing is in your hands. This is why the parcel is always more exciting before it arrives than after you open it. The wanting is the whole point, and the machine has learned to keep you permanently wanting and permanently unsatisfied. Every notification, every red badge, every unread count is a tiny dose of that wanting. Your ancient survival system, the part of you that once scanned the horizon for food and danger, has been hijacked and pointed at a screen. The same circuitry that kept your ancestors alive now keeps you scrolling and spending until the early hours. You are not weak. You are running ancient software against modern weapons designed by some of the most talented engineers on Earth, weapons sharpened on the data of billions. It is not a fair fight. It was never meant to be. So far this has been a dark story, and you may be feeling the weight of it. Good. That weight is the beginning of clarity. But I did not bring you here to leave you in despair. I brought you here to hand you the key, because the cage has a flaw, and the flaw is this. It only works while you cannot see it. The moment you can name the mechanism, it begins to lose its grip. When the feed refuses to end, you now hear a voice that says, there is no bottom because they removed it. When the notification glows, you now think, that is a lever, not a message. Awareness is the one thing the machine cannot optimize away, because it lives in you, not in the code. Reclaiming your cognitive sovereignty does not require you to throw your phone into the sea, although on certain evenings it is tempting. It requires you to reintroduce the pauses they worked so hard to delete. Put friction back. Remove the saved card so that buying takes effort again. Turn off the notifications that exist only to summon you. Move the most addictive applications off your first screen so that opening them becomes a choice rather than a reflex. Each small piece of friction is a beam you remove from your own cage. Then go further. Before you buy, impose your own pause. Wait 1 night. The wanting that felt so urgent will almost always have evaporated by morning because it was never your desire to begin with. It was a spike, manufactured and aimed at you, and spikes always fade when you refuse to feed them. And protect the empty moments. Boredom is not your enemy. Boredom is the soil where your own thoughts grow, and the machine fears it more than anything because a person comfortable with their own quiet mind has no need for the endless stream. Reclaim your boredom and you reclaim yourself. So here is where we stand. There is a hidden architecture behind the platforms you use every day, and its purpose is to wear down your willpower for profit. It hijacks the oldest parts of your brain, manufactures a quiet dissatisfaction, and then sells you the cure for the wound it created, all while making the cost invisible. You can continue to be a number on Daniel's dashboard, a rising line that keeps a stranger employed and keeps you depleted. Or you can step back, see the beams of the cage for what they are, and begin, quietly and deliberately, to take them apart. The choice was always yours. The tragedy is only that they spent billions to make you forget it. Now you remember. So the next time that screen lights up and reaches for your attention, pause and ask the one question they never want you to ask. Who profits when I cannot stop? If this opened your eyes, stay close. On Dark and Wise, we keep dragging these silent forces into the light, one by one. Until next time, stay wise.